Adolescent behavior embodies the complex dynamics of biological maturation and social experimentation. This period is marked by curiosity, contradictions, and emotional turbulence. The following session will surely help us to decipher these complex behavioral patterns. I would like to invite our chairpersons on the stage, Dr. Madhuri Kulkarni and Dr. Mamta Manglani. Dr. Madhuri Kulkarni has been the former Dean, Head of Department Pediatrics and in charge of the Learning Disability Clinic at LTMGH. Dr. Mamta Manglani has been the Founder Director of the Comprehensive Thalassemia Care, Pediatric Hematology Oncology and BMT Center at Borivali and is currently the Director of the Pediatric Hemat-Oncology and BMT Center at the Sanat Cancer Institute, Khar. I would request our chairpersons to kindly introduce the speaker for this session, Dr. Sameer Dalwai.
Good afternoon, Namaskar. It's a great pleasure to be here in Sion Hospital to attend this DAFPAL conference annual event, which we all look forward to. And today we are all here to have the participation in this program. And I'm so happy that I could see so many of my teachers, colleagues, students, all are here. Thank you so much, Department of Pediatrics, Radha and her team for inviting us here for this program. It's a great pleasure to introduce Sameer. Sameer is like student to all of us because though he is from JJ Hospital, we always had interaction with him in Sion and at so many conferences. We always look forward to your talks. They are so impressive, so elaborative, and very, very informative. So I'm sure today's talk also is going to be like that. I have heard and seen so many of your videos informing parents, guiding parents for behavior, how to handle and how to prevent behavioral problems in children. Dr. Sameer needs no introduction to this audience, but just as a formality, I'm going to read. He's a developmental behavioral pediatrician. He has his own clinic which has got a lot of branches in Mumbai, and I don't know whether it is outside Mumbai also now. Yes. Okay. He was treasurer and joint secretary for EBCIAP, Central IAP, and IAP Mumbai. He was president during 2016-2017. Sameer? Yes, I think it is already there. Okay. He will be discussing about decoding the teenage mind, adolescent behavioral patterns. Sameer, please.
Namaskar, respected chairpersons, both of whom are like elders, mothers to me, Dr. Madhuri ma'am, Dr. Mamta ma'am, all my respected seniors. I will not take names, but Dr. Radha ma'am, thanks for the opportunity. And very rarely I am nervous before a presentation, but today I am because all of you are my teachers here. Today, you've heard just now about MS, NMO, MOGAD, and I wanted to say, oh my God. And after all what sounded like a science fiction channel, what I'm going to talk about might actually sound like Astha channel. What I'm going to talk about is basically of two parts. One is I'm going to talk about a case and then some observations about adolescent medicine. What I would like to say at the beginning is, as a disclaimer, just like a child is born agnostic of the world, he or she doesn't know anything. We give the child a name, a religion, a caste, a gender appropriate behavior, a social appropriate behavior, a culture. And then that child becomes locked in that compartment. Don't you all feel that yourself? When we are dealing with a subject of adolescence and as a larger part of mental health, where there is very little to do all those CSF and send for that MOGAD antibodies, where there is nothing substantial or material that you can hold on, it's largely up in the air. And when there is no substance, then this name, caste, religion, region becomes even more stronger. And that is what is happening in this field of adolescence. It's just a normal part of life. But we as specialists, to make ourselves special, have cast it into an iron compartment. And now we have some terms that we try to apply to them all the time, instead of looking at it just as a part of life and how beautiful that can be. So I'll begin with a case and then we'll go back to this part which I said earlier, how all of us can help adolescents. We don't have to be adolescent specialists. So this 18-year-old child was brought with a refusal to attend college. He had no friends, he was withdrawn. He was referred by my dear friend Anand, Dr. Anand Kumta. Some of you might know him as an eminent ophthalmologist and son of Dr. N.B. Kumta. So this sister, the sister who worked in his hospital, it was her son. Normal developmental milestones, maternal uncle had history of epilepsy, and his interaction, which I always like to see, was good with peers. The story began at 11 years where mother reported that he started being very isolated and he had academic problems. They did an evaluation typically and it typically showed high IQ, the result the report of which has nothing to do different from before you receive the report, and some kind of remedial education done for 2 months. The key issue was that he spent about 10 hours per day on screen time, on watching reels or making reels or on Instagram or on video games or gambling and things like that. So we call it a gaming addiction with parenting dysfunction. So what did we want to work on? The child would not even initially want to come to the clinic for any course. So just to begin with, sharing with you what we did in the clinic. So increasing, the first thing we try to focus on is get the child to engage more with the parents. So increase the engagement level. Now you see, I'm not talking about stopping screen time. The first thing all of you would have said, stop his screen time. 10 hours per day, it's the worst part of his life. All of us know that, but we are never able to change it. And that is because we are hitting the symptom. The digital time and the screen time is only the trigger. It is the altered social environment which is a loaded gun, and the screen time is only the trigger that we pull. So unless we change the background, so the first thing, what we worked on with this child, it helped, increasing engagement. All of us want my child to be more confident. My child doesn't talk to me confidently. It's not about confidence, it's about trust. People talk to you when they have trust, and they have confidence when they have trust. So how do you enable trust? By stopping the parents from criticizing the child for everything. And then ensure that the parents model healthy screen behavior themselves and encourage parents to take an active role. By active, I have highlighted the word active. Active means physically doing something. Get out of the house. Go to an uncle's house, go to a relative's house, go to a cinema theater, go to a playground, go to Jew Beach, go somewhere. Do some physical activity yourself. And then come to the child. Then give gyan to the child. Give a structured routine, and in that routine, all of us talk about set clear boundaries. Nobody knows what it means. Basically, it's a reward and punishment or a reward and reprimand system in which, please remember, give and take is very important. The give always comes before take in this English phrase. That's why unless parents are able to give something to the child, they are unable to expect something back from the child. After doing this, then come to the final symptom of screen time and supervision of content. And then, of course, open discussion, making the parents and child understand what else they can do besides watching screen time. So nowhere have I said stop the screen time. Everywhere you have said do 10 other things that can be done, which will be an alternative to screen time. So basic, the terms like positive reinforcement, we all know rewarding positive behavior works. Helping parents understand this, because most parents do not understand how severe and difficult, how dangerous the screen time is. Parents always tell me कि आप बच्चे को बोलो टीवी मत देखो. I tell them, बच्चा बोलेगा मेरे फादर का टीवी है, तुम कौन है बोलने वाला मत देखो. That's a reality, which means the person who owns that has to tell them not to do it. And the second point is, I asked, बच्चा टीवी के लिए बहुत रोता है, smaller children. Said, अल्कोहल के लिए रोएगा तो पिलाएगा, सिगरेट मांगेगा रोके तो देगा, नहीं वो कैसे देंगे? Which means or proves that they don't think excessive screen time is anywhere as dangerous as alcohol. So that is where helping parents understand comes in, and of course providing strategies, as we said. But the key issue for a long-term improvement is strengthening parent-child relationship by promoting quality family time and bonding over other interests outside of digital games and academics. Because the maximum bonding that happens between the mother and child today is over homework and schoolwork and projects and completing. All the ladies, mothers are giggling here, which they know it's a kind of guilt may be there. But academics is probably the reason which breaks down all kind of relationships, because then you're not focusing on each other, you're focusing on the syllabus, not on each other. And hence helping parents create a supportive environment where children feel valued beyond their gaming achievements. So all this key issue that we have realized in our work is don't focus on that isolated symptom of screen time. Look at the sequence of events. This child was going along fine. He had a grandmother who was at home. The mother was, as I said, working in Dr. Anand's clinic, and father was doing his own job. And he had a great time with the grandmother, who was very bubbly and joyous and doing 100 things. And then she unfortunately had an illness and she passed away. And after this, the parents thought, okay, now he's gone big enough. Now he'll be going to school and classes. They didn't realize that the classes cannot substitute the vivacity and the exchange engagement of a grandmother. And this was the beginning of the whole thing. So no point taking history, screen time, right se screen dekhta hai, ki left se dekhta hai, upar se dekhta hai, all that is ridiculous. The real story is behind. That's when the story began. And hence also ruling out underlying causes. I cannot tell you how many children get referred to us for screen time addiction or toileting issues, when the actual problem is a social engagement issue of autism or hyperactivity. So addressing these unresolved childhood issues, like for example, the child was abandoned somewhere, he got lost in a fair or in some mall somewhere, and for 4 or 5 hours the parents were searching. How many of you are aware that at Juhu Beach, every day about 5 to 10 children get lost on the weekend, on the crowded days? And there are some friends of mine whose only job is to try and find that, locate that child and get them back to the parent. Each such episode could have left a fright in the mind of the child, which is never ever talked about. Because what is the first thing that happens when the child is rescued and taken to the mother and father? They are waiting at that Juhu police station. Yes, Upendra? What is the first thing that happens? दो झापड़ किधर घूमने गया था? हरवला असतं तर सासूबाईने माझी वाट लावली असती घरी, कळलं नाही का तुला? All this happens. He said, अरे घूम गया होता तो better होता. And we talk about empathy and patience, etc. And all these statements, adolescence is a transition, focus on guidance, not control. Simple. Focus on guidance, not control. In which case, why would there be so many children with failures, so many children with anxiety, depression, suicide? Problem would have been solved. And that's because if you look at what has come out of the United States, which is the forefather of all mental health treatment, which is so ridiculous, is that this is the Wall Street Journal report, which said children as young as 4 are started on multiple psychiatric medications, when reality is many have experienced adversity or trauma and have behavioral problems as a result that get labeled as ADHD. And then you can see that quickly diagnosed and prescribed medication, and that doesn't tackle the root cause. And my life journey has been the developmental behavioral subject of pediatrics and adolescents. Don't look at the symptoms, but that's what the Americans look for, and then that's what it is. Look at this graph. Children who were prescribed ADHD drugs in 2019, by the time it was 2023, look at the number of children who were on multiple drugs. 23% were on more than 2 drugs, 8.6% on more than 3 drugs, and 2.6% on more than 4 drugs, just in a matter of 5 to 6 years, which means that the medication and the profit gained by pharma companies has increased. Children's problem have not been solved. Whereas those prescribed later, only a year or 2 later, see the number of medications are much lesser. And what is one of the reasons? One of the reasons is mental health. We all have this propensity for tools. If you say it very fast, it sounds like stools, which I believe sometimes it is equivalent intellectually too. This is how it is. We are all fond of filling up these forms. And guess what? Even the doctors who are rating you and diagnosing you, Surbhi ma'am, are only filling up forms. And when you ask the parent, does your child do this? 6 out of 9, Priyanka, you have ADHD. You are only scoring symptoms. It's like saying if you have 104-degree fever and 3 chills a day, you have malaria. But if you have 102-degree fever and only 1 chill a day, you don't have malaria. But guess what? Both are still treated by giving paracetamol. So this is the key issue that we must understand, and now looking at What exactly is adolescence? It's not a new beginning, because the beginning starts when you're conceived, because that's when the neurons start. And we know that the first 1,000 days is maximum neuroplasticity, but it never really stops. The stimulation stops. The brain doesn't stop learning. But if there isn't enough stimulation, your brain will not develop these new synapses. And if we understand the child, we will never be surprised by the adolescent. So for God's sake, don't break it up into a compartment. 10 to 18, 10 to 18, 10 to 18. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. It's an artificial speciality developed by some physicians. It's a continuum. And hence, that continuum is also going to go ahead. And this is transgenerational. Because what you see, that man on the right, he is going to impact his grandchild as well. And hence it's all one big circle, it's not a linear curve. At New Horizons, when we worked with autism, etc., one thing which I want to share is, even social communication development or social behavior and communication development is a sequence. Why is it a sequence? Like head holding, rolling over, sitting, standing, walking are gross motor milestones and sequence. The sequence starts with human engagement at birth. When the child starts noticing the mother and observing the mother, he soon learns that when the bell rings, the mother goes and opens the door. And when the bell doesn't ring, the mother doesn't go and open the door. This is behavior. Therapists teach us gross motor, fine motor, gross motor, fine. How to open the door. That's not behavior. What you see is not behavior. Understanding what to do with someone and what not to do with someone. किसके साथ क्या करने का है, किसके साथ वो चीज़ नहीं करने का. मम्मी अभी अच्छे मूड में है, कुछ भी करो. अब डैडी गुस्से में दो लगा देंगे, अभी नहीं करने का कुछ. That is behavior. And that can only be understood by observing people in a normal situation. If the child understands when to open the door, when not to open the door, he or she understands when to carry the plates, when to bring the water, where to change clothes, where not to change clothes, how to do your daily activities, etc., etc. And thereafter comes non-verbal communication and verbal communication and reading and writing finally. Unfortunately, all of us are obsessed with reading and writing, and because school admissions require speech, that's why parents are obsessed with speech. Nobody cares before that whether the milestones of human engagement, human behavior and non-verbal communication have been learnt or no. But if you ever read the masters like Osho and the Indian philosophy, speech was overrated. All our great Upanishads and Vedas all said that it is language which gives you too much of division, and takes you away from your environment. The more you think, the more you lose touch with reality. The quieter you are, the more connected you are to the sea, you are more connected to the trees, more connected to the environment around you. And connection comes from being. But it is speech and too much of knowledge that actually breaks it down. Again, the same thing. Adolescence, this is my knowledge. Every child who comes to my clinic, I will see him with these tools. That is exactly the problem. But the social ecology of adolescence is the teen's behavior is a reflection of what he has learnt at home, school, peer groups and culture, and not in adolescent classes or any IAP module or not in any New Horizon Developmental Center ke therapy classes. And hence community matters as much as the neurobiology. I would say matters more, because you cannot change the neurobiology, you cannot change the genes, but you can change how you approach the child. And if you have to read one person in psychology, please read Lev Vygotsky. I put his name there. The guy, the yellow. Please read Lev Vygotsky, because he said a child learns by those closest to him, develops, then has the ability to learn from somebody a little further away, develops, then has the ability to connect to somebody further. So the child first learns from the mother and the father, then from the chachi, masi, bua, mami, because they are closest to the mother, and then from chulat chachi, nan kaki, hi maushi, ti maushi, then shezarchi kaku, who are not even related to you, and you may be a Kulkarni, the shezarchi kaku may be a Pille, or a Shah, or a Patel, or a Gonsalves. And then your brain has developed enough to deal with people, so you can go to a classroom full of 50, 60 children who are very different, and you are able to learn and adapt with them. So all these things, dear friends, are far more important in adolescence than any tool or any medication that you have. But unfortunately, gradually, if you see the previous pictures, which is only and only family, engaging with each other, human engagement, gradually gets transferred towards blocks, then pegs, then red color, blue color, pencil, matching, shape sorting, drawing within the circles, and ending up eventually with, you don't even need a human being when you have a machine like a laptop or a computer. And hence the road to academics is full of perdition. Do not rush for academics before your child has mastered social engagement. And this is exactly what we learned at New Horizons, that parental coaching is far more important than actually treating the adolescent with any medications or counseling or therapy. So maybe about 3 minutes, I'll just try to clear some myths. For example, behavior is communication, not defiance. No. Behavior is a response, often unintended, which we mark, oh, he is hyperactive. Mood swings are, children with adolescents have mood swings. What do you do about it? Oh, accept it. It's not true. Understand that there is sometimes a normal response of a person who does not know how to deal with the situation. If you are faced with this, you are happy, somebody comes and tells you something happened just now, which is a problem, suddenly what is going to happen to you? Yeah, you call it a mood swing? No, it's a normal response when you do not know what to do with the situation. You want to do something but cannot, and you are being judged. Oh, look at this fellow, he's always like this. This is the atmosphere we are subjecting the adolescents to, and we are calling it mood swings. Risk-taking, adolescent brain, autonomy, seeking autonomy, rebellion. कुछ नहीं है. The child who just found out that he has failed, and when he goes home, the father sees the report card is going to beat him up, is bound to say कि boss report आया ही नहीं, अभी 2 दिन के बाद आने वाला है. Or he's going to probably sign something else. He's going to, is that risk-taking behavior? Of course it is risk-taking. He's trying to save getting beaten up. Who won't do that? It is not to be blamed on the adolescent biochemistry of the brain. It is the situation. Because the biochemistry you cannot change with all these medications. You can change the situation. And similarly, this child is withdrawn, like my case was. This child is now withdrawn. It's basically nothing but he's rational enough to stay quiet, guarded, weighing his options until a safe, trusted hand or help appears. So I don't want to go on to this because I thought a lot of these things to say. But for example, identity formation. Who am I? Dominates every action. That is what every American textbook will tell you. An adolescent is trying to find out, who am I? Rubbish. He is trying to find what will happen next. अभी मेरे कम मार्क आएंगे तो अभी क्या होने वाला है? He is not trying to find out who am I. I am Changiz Khan. It doesn't matter, Dad, whether I score less marks. He is not thinking like that. He says, अभी क्या होगा? Next, पिटने वाला हूँ या कुछ सुनने वाला हूँ? And these are the things, the point that I want to say. For example, mental health flags, sudden drop in functioning. What is a sudden drop in functioning? I have seen enough children who dropped gradually, slowly, insidiously. Don't keep only watching for a sudden drop. Persistent irritability. What is persistent irritability? But irritability with previously formed situations. Previously the child liked to sit and talk with the grandmother. Now he doesn't want to. These things are very important, and not just changes in sleep or appetite, changes in anything. Even the choice of language, the friendship that the child has, and risk-taking with intent rather than curiosity. American jargon. Reality, social withdrawal in previously formed situations. So I'm going to conclude by saying 1 or 2 things more. What is a pediatrician's role? The Americans say, be the translator between teen and parent. Matlab, you are trying to tell the parent what the child wants, and you try to tell the child what the parent wants. Both of them will hate you. What you want to do is don't get lost in translation, na idhar na udhar. Normalizing the chaos, highlight the strengths. Rather than that, teach deep breathing techniques. That will help the mother and father more. And bring up some good stuff. You know, there is a lovely movie, and that song we'll remember, wo jo Albela Hazaro Mein Akela, etc., etc. So look at every child's good points. And what I would like to conclude is, as pediatricians, we must mandate teaching parents the importance of engaging with their families and friends, and to find joy in human engagement. And this is what parents must be explained, that this is the new normal, and this is how you'll have to go back. I'll just play one video, because this probably captures the essence of what I feel.
अगर आप चाहते हैं कि आपके पीछे आपका बच्चा सक्सेसफुल हो, वो उसके कर्मों से नहीं होता. Not only his ability, but the ability of the world to tolerate him and support him. कोई भी महारथी अपने आप से महारथी नहीं बना. You need world to support you. आप बच्चे को इतना इस सोसाइटी में ले जाओ कि वो कल इलेक्शन चुन के आए. अब ये क्या होता है, कौन इलेक्शन चुन के आता है?
I did not learn
एक
this.
बंदे से मिले तो उसकी तारीफ करे, दूसरे से मिले इसको उल्टा. अभी ये बहुत नेगेटिव चीज तक जाती है, ये छोड़ दो. मगर डिप्लोमेसी तो यही बात है ना. जो उस सिचुएशन को देख के हैंडल कर सकता है। अगर आपका बच्चा लोगों को हैंडल कर सकता है, ही इज अ परफेक्टली नॉर्मल चाइल्ड एंड ही हैज फुल चांस ऑफ बीइंग सक्सेसफुल। अब रह गया कि कौन से फील्ड में काम कर रहा है, इट्स ओके, डजंट मैटर। कोई डॉक्टर है, कोई इंजीनियर है, कोई स्टॉक ब्रोकर है, कोई लॉयर है, बट इन ऑल ऑफ देम द कॉमन थिंग इज एबिलिटी टू डील विद पीपल एंड टू शो रेजिलियंस। अगर आप चाहते हैं कि आपके स्पेशल चिल्ड्रन के पेरेंट्स को हम सिखाते हैं, सबसे जरूरी चीज है दैट योर चाइल्ड शुड बी एबल टू स्पेंड 2 days विद चाची, मासी, बुआ, मामी विदाउट यू इन देयर हाउस, डूइंग व्हाट चाची वांट्स इन चाचीज हाउस एंड डूइंग व्हाट मासी वांट्स इन मासीज हाउस। फॉर मी अ चाइल्ड हु इज एबल टू डू दिस इज अ नॉर्मल चाइल्ड। मासी बोलते अरे ठीक है, अच्छा है, लेकिन फिर और भेज दे 2 दिन के लिए। शी इज वेलकमिंग हिम बैक बिकॉज ही इज एडजस्टिंग टू हर, ही नोज मासी को कैसे हैंडल करना है। मासीज हाउस इज वेलकम। दिस मीन्स that this child is normal. Why I'm saying? Because now we can survive without the mother and father. If something happens to the mother and father, eventually will happen, this child can stay with the rest of society and the rest of society is happy to keep him with them. Then आपको वो इंश्योरेंस हो गया कि मैं नहीं भी हूँ तो मेरा बच्चे को सोसाइटी संभाल लेगी। स्पेशल चिल्ड्रन।
So I just wanted you to take a picture of this so that you can access. There are hundreds of such videos out there and it's all free. And you can just do a scan that QR code and you can get there. And these are all the QR codes. You can find all these videos. You can share it with your patients, with your friends, your neighbors. And I'll just give, and this is one video, QR code which I'd like you to see. There's an article on how the social structure is now changing and harming our children. It's not abnormal genes or bad genes only, and how simple hug can matter from preventing a child from disaster. Finally, I'd like to close with this picture. All of you know who this man, great man is, and the song is? And the song is? So as a pediatrician, whenever I get a labor call, I am hoping कि बच्चा रोते हुए आए. But once I reach there and he's crying, then it's the job of the pediatrician to make sure that the child does not cry for the rest of the life and keeps laughing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sameer. I think you wonderfully put across these thoughts to us, and now we are also wondering family engagement, so we should finish the CME soon. And also one message to all the mothers who have adolescent children or likely to have soon adolescent children: keep your mothers-in-law happy so that they have a grandmother at home, so that the same issues don't come. Wonderful. Thank you, Sameer, for a wonderful and enlightening talk. Always a pleasure to hear you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Sorry.
Thank you, sir, for this fascinating discussion. I would request our chairperson to present our speaker with a token. Hello. I now request Dr. Sadhna Sope to present the chairperson with a token of our appreciation. Thank you all.